husbands and wives.
You communicate to yourself and to others.
The most important skill you can have.
A way to help you feel.
Having the aim to be a good communicator is a good start.
The most important skill you can have is communication skills. And I admit I am biased because I make my money with communication. But think about why roles such as mine even exist in big companies. Communications is more important than ever, for businesses for sure, but also for us personally.
To yourself. So Ellen Langer said in her book, Mindfulness, she said, and psychologists know, when you perceive choice, you perceive motivation. You're more motivated.
See, husbands and wives and partners, you know, they can fight for days because the raise of an eyebrow at the wrong time. So I had the right to be really mad at him for yelling at me for something I didn't do, didn't I? Or did I? You see, most of us react in a split second. So we react before we even speak. And so right now, John had the right to be angry at me because he was in the right. Well, that's a whole other TED talk. He felt he was in the right at this stage because I had tensed up. Had I been able to use my language with my actions at the same time, and I said to him, "Would you like to change lanes?" None of this silent miscommunication, anger would ever have happened. You see, it's interesting, isn't it? Because in my split second, I made up a story for John that he needed to change lanes. And in his split second, he made up a story for me that I was tensing up. I wonder, have you ever made up a story for someone? Have you ever seen someone looking angry or frustrated or tired, and perhaps you made up a story for them? Or maybe even for yourself at times, or maybe it even happened today. Can I see a show of hands if you've ever made up a story for someone without asking them what was wrong? Yes, we all have. We're all humans. You know, we have thousands of thoughts.
And today I want to focus more on the power of communications for us personally. And that has more to do with my passion than with my job. So when I was younger, my parents taught me the art of hard work. I studied, earned good grades, and everyone was happy. Yeah, I had to present every now and then at school and at university, but it was never really the core of my activities. It was never what my success depended on. Then I had to apply for a job, did the interview processes, and entered the working world, and I realized it was becoming more important to convey information than to know information. So communication, the way I communicated, had a significant impact on my success. Probably all of you are right now thinking about what to do with your future life, what to study and what to work, right? So let's do a little thought exercise together, a time travel. 25 years from now, how will your work life look like? What will you be doing? Imagine yourself. Will you sit at a desk? Probably not. Will you type? Probably not. Let me give you some pointers. Some technology developments that are already becoming apparent and shaping the world we live in. Big data will optimize our decision making. The artificial intelligence in general will completely transform the way we work because all of the accounting tasks will be taken care of by machines with the highest levels of scalability and precision. And all manual tasks will be taken care of by robotics and automation. And even performing actual surgeries, can you imagine? And I'm not saying don't study medicine or don't study finance, of course not, because wherever machines take over part of the job, there is more possibility for the human to add value in a different way. But what is this value add? What I'm saying is that this value add part will have a lot to do with communication in any job.
or anxiety. So let me introduce you to a few techniques that I think you can use right away to help you feel more comfortable. The first has to do with when you begin to feel those anxiety symptoms. For most people, this happens in the initial minutes prior to speaking. In this situation, what happens is many of us begin to feel whatever it is that happens to you. Maybe your stomach gets a little gurgly, maybe your legs begin to shake, maybe you begin to perspire. And then we start to say to ourselves, oh my goodness, I'm nervous. Uh-oh, they're gonna tell I'm nervous. This is not gonna go well. And we start spiraling out of control. So research on mindful attention tells us that when we begin to feel those anxiety symptoms, we simply greet our anxiety and say, hey, this is me feeling nervous.
Or motivated. So the deal is, for yourself, sit back and reflect. Be mindful of the choices you have. And talk about being a success seeker rather than a failure avoider. It's all how you talk, how you communicate to yourself and to others. I've got a fourth C word. Community. Powerful word. Psychologists know that social support is critical. People who perceive a sense of relatedness, a sense of connection with other people, they feel motivated and they're happier. I want to recite a poem. It's called The Cookie Thief by Valerie Cox. And as I recite this poem, there's only two characters, a man and a lady. Put yourself in the situation. Be mindful. Think about the situation and what you would do. Okay, here we go. A woman was waiting in an airport one night with several hours before her flight. She hunted for a book in the airport shop, bought a bag of cookies, and found a place to drop. She was engrossed in her book and happened to see that the man beside her, as bold as could be, took a cookie or two from the bag between, which she tried to ignore to avoid a scene. She read, munched cookies, and watched the clock as a gutsy cookie thief diminished her stock. She was getting more irritated as the minutes ticked by, thinking if I wasn't so nice, I'd blacken his eye. With each cookie she took, he took one too. When only one was left, she wondered what he'd do. With a smile on his face and a nervous laugh, he took the last cookie and he broke it in half. He offered her half as he ate the other. She snatched it from him and thought, oh, brother, this guy has some nerve, and he's also rude. He didn't even show any gratitude. She'd never known when she'd been so galled. She sighed with relief.
Having the aim to be a good communicator is a good start. And you think, well, I could buttress that to some degree. Well, there isn't anything that you can possibly, this is the whole point of a liberal education. There isn't anything that you can possibly do that makes you more competent in everything you do than to learn how to communicate. I don't care if you're going to be a carpenter. I mean, being a carpenter, by the way, is very difficult, especially if you're a good carpenter. But if you're good at communicating as a carpenter, you're like 10 times better as a carpenter. So, and this is something that the liberal arts colleges, I think, I don't know if they've forgotten it, but they don't do a very good job of marketing. It's like, well, what's the use of a bachelor's degree, a Bachelor of Arts? It's like, well, you can think, you can write, you can speak, you've read something. It's like, the economic value of that is incalculable. The people that I've watched in my life who've been spectacularly successful they have skills. Clearly, that's a minimum precondition. But they're also very, very good at articulating themselves. And so whenever they negotiate, they're successful. Well, that's kind of like the definition of success in life, right? You negotiate and you're successful. It doesn't mean you win. Because if you're a good negotiator, if you're a really good negotiator, everybody walks away from the negotiation thrilled. And so then people line up to do things with you. So, and that's all dependent on your ability to communicate. So practice.